Let's start today's news with Henry Cejudo getting honest on his fighting future. During a recent interview on the HJR Experiment, Triple C discussed his upcoming fight against Dvalishvili at UFC 298 next month. During the talk, he stated that if he loses this fight, he may consider returning to retirement, and admittedly that he's not really as passionate about fighting anymore, but does it mostly for the financial aspect of it. He said, "This fight is for the #1 contender spot. I think if after losing to Aljamain, if I had to go down the ladder, I would probably be done fighting again. Yeah, man, this sport is hard, man. Training camps, having 2 kids, things like that. It's all or nothing, man. It's more of a motivation of vengeance. Why I returned? It's not always the love of the sport. Not really, man. Even coming back to the sport, I wanted to test myself. I liked the matchup. It has been 3 years, but also the financial compensation. There's nothing easier to make money than the fight game. I'm not really young, man. I don't feel those highs. Even with fighting, people talk about fighting in front of 25,000 people. I can give 2 f***s. It could start with love for fighting, but at the end of the day, you're so far in it that you almost start like it becomes a business." Henry Cejudo concluded, "That's kind of where I find myself." Daniel Cormier suggests the fight to make for UFC 300's main event. Everyone is still waiting for Dana White's final announcement of the main event bout for the UFC 300 card. Some believe that it's going to be Conor McGregor vs. Michael Chandler. However, Daniel Cormier has another matchup in mind and believes it would be even bigger than Conor vs. Chandler. Speaking on the DC and RC show, Cormier suggested that the UFC should make McGregor vs. Diaz 3 and explained why he thinks it would be a much bigger fight than McGregor vs. Chandler.
I believe that while we don't have as many of those attractions left in the UFC, Conor is one, and regardless of who he would fight, the attraction comes with him. But if McGregor fights Diaz, that is what I believe draws the general fan in as much as anything that they could do in the UFC right now. Just because of Nate Diaz and the intrigue, the way the first fight played out, the way the second fight played out, it is still 2 of the highest grossing pay-per-views in UFC history. Sure, Nate Diaz isn't the guy that he was before. He's not the guy that fought the most beautiful striking exhibit against Michael Johnson in Florida, where he went and said, "Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for," and a whole bunch of cuss words. He's not that same guy, but neither is Conor McGregor. This isn't the guy that knocked out Jose Aldo no more. This is a new fighter. This is a guy that is not as good as he was back then because of all the things that have happened in life afterwards. But when you put them 2 together right now at the state and at the part of their career that they're in right now, then you have that type of fight.
Mike Perry sends a fiery message to Jake Paul. Over the past year, Perry has been calling for a boxing match with Jake Paul, but he still hasn't gotten it. During a recent episode of the Overdogs podcast, the clearly frustrated Perry once again issued a fiery call out to Jake and told him to stop ducking him.
Jake Paul, the fight needs to happen, bro. You and me, let's go. You knocked that dude out real quick in that last little boxing match here in Orlando. Let's go, bro. Stop ducking. Me and you co-main event on the Benavidez card. Let's go, bro. We need something incredible, dog. I deserve it. I stick my finger through your fucking eye socket, bro. I deserve it, bro. I fight like no one else.
Tyron Woodley opens up about his UFC pay. Woodley parted ways with the UFC in March of 2021 after suffering his 4th consecutive loss. During a recent interview on Demetrius Johnson's Mighty Cast podcast, the former champ revealed that he wanted to part ways with the UFC years prior and how fighter pay was the main reason for his departure. He said he made $500,000 for his final title fight against Kamaru Usman and took issue with the UFC paying him similar to Donald Cerrone, who was never a UFC champion. Here's the clip. You can watch the full interview on DJ's YouTube channel. Link can be found in the video description.
I was going to lead the UFC prior. I was going to lead the UFC after Darren Till, right? I told dude, I said, "Fucking cut me, dog. Y'all want me here, man? Shit, y'all keep on to me, dog. Like we keep fighting the shit every fight because you know how I was. I was a gorilla. I had you up a couple times too to go, but wow.
Yeah.
I mean, but I knew the number so well. I knew what everybody was making. I'm not finna go out there and be making the same as Cowboy Cerrone. That motherfucker ain't never touched gold in his life. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. No, that's just a principle thing. Yeah. Sometimes when you're African American in this game, they think you should just be appreciative. I'm not just appreciative. I'm thankful that you give me opportunity, but you didn't give me the gifts. God gave me the gifts. I'm thankful to Him for the gifts. So I'm not gonna know what people are making number-wise and see what I've done in the sport and who I'm beating. I'm not gonna let Robbie Lawler make more money than I made when I'm the motherfucker that smoked him, right? Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. So at the end of the day, they hated that I knew the numbers. So I was like, all right, cool. So they don't want to. They say, okay, we'll let you out your contract. Bet. All right, I'm out.
Garry has sent a warning to Geoff Neal. Garry issued a strong message to his opponent, Geoff Neal, 2 weeks ahead of their highly anticipated grudge battle, which is scheduled for UFC 299 on February 17th. In the video posted on his IG stories, Garry stated that his plan is to put Neal's struggle with COVID to the test.
Come here, I have something to show you. See this thing? I hate it, but it works and it gives me cardio. Geoff Neal, I'm going to put your long COVID to the test, pal, yeah?
Neal responded with this clip.
Hey, yo, let me show you something. You see this?
A huge boxing match is in the works for the Saudi Arabia card. Mike Tyson vs. Mark Hunt is in the works to fight in an 8-round boxing match in Saudi Arabia later this year. Multiple outlets like Daily Telegraph and The Australian reported the news Wednesday. FTS MMA was first to report it on Twitter, writing, "Breaking, the real Mark Hunt vs. Mike Tyson looks to be in the works for an 8-round boxing match in Saudi Arabia later this year. Very close to being announced, likely to be made official sometime in February. Timeline looks to be December. Huge." The now 49-year-old Hunt hasn't competed since November of 2022 when he defeated Sonny Bill Williams via 4th-round TKO. His boxing record is 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw. As for Tyson, he last competed in 2020 against another boxing legend, Roy Jones Jr. The bout was officially a draw, however Tyson looked by far the superior fighter of the night. What do you guys make of this announcement? Who do you think wins this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Listen up, fight fans. We've been working behind the scenes on a newsletter that will allow you to read and see content we can't always post on here. This will allow us all to better stay in the talk. Time for today's top memes. Third place was found over on Reddit and was posted by a user named ComfortableQuit. Second place meme was found over on Instagram and was posted by a user named As Shopped As It Gets. The top picked meme was found over on Reddit and was posted by Interesting Skirt. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel to keep up with the latest MMA news.